Let's cross down live to the H. Aha! Peacock. How are you, H?
Fantastic, Danny. Thanks, Beth.
Now, listen, tell us about this Battle of Ipswich 170 years ago.
Yeah, look, and the original Battle of Ipswich, what I'm calling is, happened exactly 170 years ago last Wednesday.
Right.
And now this was back when Queensland was still part of New South Wales.
Oh, thank God, because we'd be losers now instead of winners.
Oh, look, things have changed since then, but the protagonists back in 1850 was Arthur Morrison. He was a storekeeper in East Street.
Yeah.
His wife, Ellen Morrison, who was almost certainly the former convict Ellen Doyle, who'd been transported for 7 years. There was Edward Manley. He was the Ipswich Chief Constable.
Right.
Then there was a local magistrate, Dr. William Dorsey, who was one of the very early free settlers here,
Right.
and it appeared in the very first Moreton Bay census in 1846. Now,
Wow.
the battle all started, I guess, in September 1850 in the Ipswich Police Court when Arthur Morrison charged the magistrate, Dr. Dorsey, with stealing his 2 ducks. Now, Dr. Dorsey at first refused to issue a warrant against himself or appear in his own court.
Right.
But finally it went ahead.
Yeah.
But Constable Manley spoke for the defence and helped keep Dr. Dorsey out of jail.
Oh.
Now, 2 months later, Constable Manley was walking down East Street when from his store veranda, Morrison began shouting in what the constable described as blasphemous and profane language. Now, Morrison was still incensed by the alleged duck-stealing incident. He was shouting for all to hear that Dr. Dorsey was a dirty duck-stealing scoundrel,
Quack, quack.
and Manley was Dorsey's minion, although, Danny, he used rather more colourful terms than that.
He used the in and out word, probably.
Oh, I don't know. But anyway, at that point, what he did use was an iron pot, because that's what was thrown at Manley. And Manley later claimed that if he'd been hit, it would have killed him. So the constable rushed forward, and more things were thrown at him.
Right.
Once inside, Manley jumped on top of Morrison.
Right.
Seeing this, Mrs. Morrison began belting Manley over the head with a steel saucepan.
Right.
She then jumped on Manley, trying to pull his eyes out.
Oh.
Manley called the constable Connor, who was outside. He ran in and then jumped on top of Mrs. Morrison. Now, by this time, there was a huge crowd watching. In fact, all of Ipswich virtually was there.
Right.
Morrison was lying on the ground. Manley was on top of him. Mrs. Morrison was on top of Manley, and Constable Connor was on top of her. Now, those in the crowd included George Fairholme, who was another local magistrate who was quite famous at the time. He'd been on a series of expeditions with Ludwig Leichhardt and was described by his contemporaries, much like yourself, Danny, as the most handsome man ever to come through Cunningham's Gap. Now, Fairholme tried to intervene, but Mrs. Morrison gave him a black eye. Also there was Randolph Want, who later became a member of the New South Wales Legislative Council, and John Dillon, the New South Wales Crown Solicitor. Now, both of them were visiting Ipswich for the first, and I'd say possibly last time. Now, the assault case went to the Brisbane Circuit Court before the New South Wales Chief Justice Sir Alfred Stevenson. The storekeeper, Morrison, was fined £50 and given 3 months in prison. Chief Constable Manley was criticised for having aggravated the situation, and he was later transferred out of the district. But, Danny, there wasn't a mention of Dr. Dorsey or the ducks that started it all.
The Ducks and started the big Battle of Ipswich 170 years ago last Wednesday. Mate, you're a great storyteller, which is an art form, and you always come up with quirky things. We get a bit of, what do you reckon, Spark? We keep him going. He's so good.
Yeah, no, we'll keep him around.
Yeah, keep him around.
Yeah.
All right, so how do we get all these...
Yeah, look, you can go to my website, historyouthere.com, but there's just so many stories like this, Danny, that just go to show that Ipswich history, a lot of it really is out there. Historyouthere.com, that's where you see me.
Now, Harold H. Peacock is on about this time each week on West Bremer Radio at 8:18. And, mate, you're going to put out a book, and there's so many stories, you just keep putting off actually publishing it.
Oh, look, people just keep coming forward with more really good stuff. So a bit of scope creep going on, but we're getting there, Denny.
It's great talking to you. Harold Peacock, historyouthere.com, 8:18 at West Bremer Radio. Take it away there, Spark Dog.